Hello and welcome to Quit or Continue, the video games podcast that pokes a finger in the eye of the games that waste your time. I am your host, Mike Plant. To my left is Jack Turner.
Hello.
To my right, Andy Lachlan.
Hello.
And Dave Whiteman.
Hello.
And this week we're talking about Valiant Hearts.
Valiant Hearts, or to give its full title, Valiant Hearts: The Great War. It was my choice after the horror in so many ways of Jack's Alien Isolation, which yes, I did give a continue. I do sort of stand by that, but let's not go down that road. I chose this game because back in 2010 I wrote a piece all about why there are not more games about the Great War. In that case, it was all about first-person shooters and how, you know, marking the centenary would be a really good way to do with the game. So really happy. I was really happy to see this game. I think actually, yes, there are things we need to talk about it, but you know, in terms of a braveness of choice, this is pretty brave. I mean, it's obviously a small game. It's not a full kind of box copy.
I thought you meant the braveness of your choice then, for one
the
horrible moment.
Generally speaking, I do think of myself as brave, just getting out of bed in the morning. But I think it's a real brave thing to do. I think, like, obviously the Great War is quite a complex thing to get your head around, but I think it's really brave that Ubisoft has done this. I think the actual way it's been done has pluses and minuses.
Okay, so let's just... So the game is basically a side-scrolling puzzle game. Is that a fair enough description?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's not really a point and click, is it? It's more
It's quite a... I think puzzle game might be over-egging it slightly.
Well, yeah, definitely. I want to talk about that in more detail. It's a bit like The Cave, if anyone's played The Cave. If any of you guys
I played a
it?
demo of The Cave. Okay. That's good enough, though, isn't it?
Yeah, so...
That counts.
When we say puzzles,
Commitment.
the puzzles... I love that game.
Yeah. I thought about it.
I played it for 5 minutes.
I saw it in the shop once.
Yeah. I thought about it, but then went to the pub.
So essentially the puzzles are very much, there's a stick on the floor, there's a lever, a switch missing a stick over there.
The stick next to the thing.
And then hooray, that you've now made the lever move and something's happened.
I think that's where at its heart this is kind of a slightly strange game. I think we talked to it about, like, if you were playing it, you were talking about, if you were playing it with a kid, your kid, and not with a kid. Don't just grab a kid and start playing it. That's don't do that.
Don't get this right.
Okay.
If you're playing it with your son or your daughter or whatever, and it's not too hard, it's not too challenging, but it's got some really interesting lessons in there.
It's educational.
But I think it also is, but also it's quite dark as well at times, and there's some really bleak.
About the war.
Understandably.
Yeah, but I think
issues.
A happy event, World War I.
I'm not saying it's a happy event. I was saying it might be quite challenging for, like, you know, a parent to say, this is why loads of people died.
I agree. Yeah, it's not something you can give to your school kids.
I did like that because I do feel like this game is massively aimed at children. I mean, it's let's face it, it's quite easy, and it is basically a history lesson via a game. But
which I want to come to in a bit.
Yeah. But you know, I liked the way, the kind of nature of it. I liked the fact that it wasn't like grotesquely offensive. There was nothing like, you didn't see limbs being blown off all over the place. Yeah. However, you did still experience the kind of the death of war to some degree.
And mustard gas as well, which is quite
mustard gas. Yeah, then there was still a lot of stuff in there that I think was it was good to highlight, I think.
Yeah, but I think that's where the conflict comes. There's times where the game is kind of like a Paul Nash picture of this kind of horrible, really sort of harrowing scene, and there's others it's kind of like, wow, this is like a slapstick version of French Chuckle Brothers.
There's a bit. so most of the games on a 2D plane, you're going left to right, picking up objects. But there's other bits.
Simple point to point.
Exactly, yeah. But there's other bits where it kind of breaks away from that. There's car sections.
And kind of Guitar Hero light sections.
The Guitar Hero medical sections. But the car section, at one point, you're driving away from a tank, and it's like the can music's playing over the top of it.
So that's
yeah, but what I really liked about that is the bombs are falling to the beats of the can, which is pretty cool. I didn't like the section at all because it was too long, but the music was fun.
I didn't like how long it was. It was a bit overly long, but I did like that kind of playful humour, because at the same time the story itself wasn't. I mean, we could talk about the ending. The ending was serious, but the story itself, there was something kind of. It was a bit Maria von Trapp Sound of Music dealing with the war, as opposed to like an actual like cutting seriously about the war all the time. And so like the can music stuff, like I say, you still go back to the fact that it's still kind of a kids game, and that's still something that's going to keep.
But that in a sense is problematic, isn't it? Because it's like I think what happened with those sections is it didn't lighten the mood for me. It just made me sort of care less about the characters. So you got to stages where
you hate seeing people have fun, don't you?
yeah. I'm
in their darkest moments.
I'm just a cold-hearted bastard. But you got to make games for me as well.
Sure.
All the cold-hearted bastards out there. But I think the thing is like in a really emotional parts, you were kind of wondering when someone's going to get a pie in the face or something like that.
I think my problem with it was there was such a sort of to all, so 1 minute you're like, oh god, this is like really sad, and oh god, I've just seen loads of people just get mown down by gunfire and machine gun fire, and it's really harrowing. And the next minute there's the Baron kind of cannon across the screen like something out of Monty Python.
I mean, so throughout the game you basically pursue the Baron.
And
he's like obviously the game is quite cartoony, but he's like a cartoon character.
He's like the uber stereotype.
But this is actually what I mean about the story being Sound of Music-esque, is that kind of like that's the story, isn't it? You're trying to get this Baron. It's like, well, that's not really going to win the war.
No.
But yet, behind it, you've still got this people trying to win the war.
But he's like a comical character who's then at the next minute kind of going around killing loads of people. And then the next minute he's like, oh, you almost got me. And then he dashes off.
It's like, this is a horrific genocidal maniac. and he's like kind of like popping out, oh, catch me, catch me.
I think did he have a moustache and a monocle?
He did, yeah.
Of course he did.
That says it all, doesn't it?
The Kaiser hat and all that kind of stuff.
But and two of the main interactions you have with him are as boss fights, which I thought were quite bizarre to have in this game.
Totally jarring.
So one of them, he's in a blimp. You're lobbing bombs at the blimp. That felt really gamey to me.
Yeah, it didn't need to be like that, and I think that kind of, I mean, in fact, in just general, the stereotypes in this game were massive, weren't they?
No one came well out of it, did they?
No.
Really.
And like, obviously it's made by...
Well, you have your classic, Emile, is it? You have your classic French kind of farmer who doesn't want to be involved in the war, gets torn away from his family, but feels like he's protecting them too. So that's about as cliched as it can be, really. He kind of grumbles his way through the battles and stuff. What are you smiling at?
I was just thinking, the stereotype, the thing that really highlights the stereotypes is when they thank the dog. The American
the
guy.
Psychic dog, you mean?
But you have the American can do that kind of, oh, thank you very much. And then,
that's what he did.
And then it's like, I can't remember the French guy or what kind of stuff, and it was very... The
dog was good.
The dog was good, but the dog was clairvoyant in that you could command him to go and get things from miles away, and he would go and get them and he'd know what to do in that situation. He was like the most intelligent dog. He was basically Lassie and some sort of mind-controlled drugs.
He could also operate levers.
He could operate levers. He could drag people away from things.
He was very promiscuous, wasn't he? He was like, I like you really good now. And then someone else was on going, oh, I like you better.
There's also a little bit where he goes back to his original owner at some point, isn't there? And like, he's like, oh, I love you as well. And then
he dies.
There was still a moment, back on the history lesson, but there was still a moment where they could then talk about the animals within the war and stuff like that.
Strange,
it was strange, but I still kind of think this is just a big vice to get kids to learn about the First World War.
And I enjoyed the bit with the dogs. The dog's pretty much in it all the time, and it is quite good the way you can use the dog, and it's a cute little character. But ultimately, it's mad the way it's implemented, because in the real war, that dog would not be able to do all those things. That obviously in games you're not very realistic, but it's a very realistic game in many ways. And then you've got this dog that can, like you say, you can basically talk to it and tell it what to get from the other side of the world.
I think also the wider thing about, we touched on like the history side. I think this is a perfect example of like telling, not showing. They've got this game. They're kind of, better make a game out of it. But okay, so let's send just fire facts at people. It's kind of like being nuisance called by Wikipedia. It's like, have you watched this? You've got a button. It's mapped to the triangle on the PlayStation anyway. And it's like that's your instant Wikipedia button. You're like, a fact about the war. Constantly, picking up items that have no purpose.
You did actually get. sort of rewards, whatever it is, when it goes bing and you've passed some kind of...
You get trophies.
Trophies, that's it. You get trophies for reading it.
Welcome to the games blog.
Yeah,
Let's
sorry.
introduce Dave to trophies.
It was just like it had gone out of my mind for it. But I've got to say that I'm one of those people who doesn't care that much for trophies. But like, yeah, it seems that I noticed when I read some things, it went ding. It sort of like gave me some kind of well done. You've learned something new today.
You're not stupid anymore.
Did anyone bother to collect the items?
Yeah,
That's what we're gonna
yes.
talk
I did. And I see. You've been quite disparaging about the items, but actually I've got an issue with collectibles in games because they hide them in dark corners and expect you to go and pick up a dog tag.
Oh, behind you. So you start. I mean, this goes back to the original Doom and the chainsaw was behind you when you had to spin through it like 180.
Actually, that's a good point.
Why do they do that? It's so annoying.
Every 2D game, I always go left first.
Yeah, and it's like
just to see, because I know they've
I'm
hidden
like
something
a
there.
trained monkey by this point. Like I just do it out of like some weird habit. I have to go into. Well, obviously all the action's there, but just go over here for a moment.
Anyway, I'm having T-shirts made up that say "I go left first." So just follow the link at the bottom.
That sounds sexual.
But I hate collectibles in games generally. But I actually quite like these because there's about 5 to each level, and because you're on a 2D plane, they're quite easy to spot and pick up, and you learn something with each one.
It's like a Kinder egg.
Did you not find them quite interesting? It's better than like just a little trinket.
I think I did find them interesting. Obviously, I'm a massive, horrible militaristic nerd, but like I think the way that they were
take out the militaristic.
Horrible. I am awful with it. Quite a bore, but like
it's true.
But you know, all right, let's not go down that road.
We've been in this room for 6 hours.
Spit it out.
But it's the way that the history was handled. Like I think there's 2 problems. I had a problem with the kind of snippets, this kind of like removing the history into kind of factoids.
Yeah, but how else would you have done it? Like just given like a massive.
You can show it through a story. I mean, like, and then there's the narration. Like the narration, overly dramatised, overly forcing things down your face that you didn't need to do. I mean, like. Okay, I come back to one of my favourite point-and-click games. Shut up. Is Machinarium.
Welcome to Andy's podcast.
Guys, I'm just going to talk to you for the next 2 minutes. But I really like that game. There's no dialogue in it, but you feel like you're learning this strange story, like a strange little world.
Yeah, but that is a strange little world, whereas this is a world that you're vaguely familiar with.
What is it? But how much
in my comprehensive school, it was at least
know?
1 lesson. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but how much people know about like the First World War? It's like,
so
I think you could have led them through experience. We took them like various different bits, and it kind of does touch on that, but it kind of adds in all these extra elements, like this dramatic narration with this kind of like movie voice.
Like maybe
that was to entice your emotion, basically.
The
whole thing is built.
It turned me off. To be
it worked for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm weak.
Did it pull on the old hearts?
It completely worked for me actually as well. I just thought
me and Dave were in touch with our emotions.
Yeah, that was it.
You robots.
It did a little bit on me, but it was kind of also countered by the fact that we're constantly making you like. So we mentioned mustard gas. You've got to switch off the mustard gas by some ridiculous convoluted puzzles of moving pipes around with the pulley system. It's like, what are we doing? There was no point in World War I where some guy came into a subterranean bunker and then spent the next 15 minutes trying to turn these pipes.
You don't know that.
Okay, what a hero that man was. But like,
as soon as you take all that stuff out, though, I mean, because we can complain about all those kind of little things, the fact it's very unrealistic to do that, and that wouldn't have been a part of actually the First World War. As soon as you take that stuff out, you've then not really got a game. And you've got a very different game that's not really a puzzle game. It's
I feel it should have been like in the style of a Telltale Walking Dead or Fables game. It should have been that style of a game.
That's what you said about Aliens, isn't it? It's about Aliens. Is that our solution to every podcast? This should have been a Telltale.
No, but this game would lend itself to that because it had all the ingredients, the emotional storyline. There's quite strong characters, apart from the Baron.
I don't think that the sort of the approach is that bad. I think it's just the way that they should just show not tell. Like they're forcing the history on top of a gameplay when actually they can use the gameplay. And there's moments when they do it, but then it's like they ram home the thing. Like gets to the end, it goes, and then Emil walked out and he saw all the dead bodies and this, and then dogs did this in the war. And wait a minute, have you read the Wikipedia bits? It's like you just cramming it down my throat.
My issue was not so much that as the puzzles were just too easy. I was not challenged. Was anyone else?
Any puzzles challenging for more than a second? But then I think we're looking at it from the wrong perspective then, because I really do think this is actually something for clearly a younger audience.
We should check the PR release.
Yeah, because I think like in terms of for a game that is for young people, and like I say, I've got my my stepson on this, and he's gripped on it, and he's really into it, and I think that's great because. How else do you other than sitting him in a classroom, talk to him about, get him to learn about the First World War. And he is learning about the First World War. I mean, he's probably not reading it quite the same way that I would have read all the little factoids and stuff like that. But there is still something there. And yeah, I just think, like I say about the puzzles, I think the puzzles, they need to be there to still keep it a game. But they,
right
you know,
for kids, aren't they?
Well, I think the puzzle could have been a lot stronger. Like they're, just generally tougher, a bit more interesting. They're very repetitive. You do
they
the
are
same
very
puzzle
repetitive.
over
Yeah,
and over and over, so
definitely.
you just find a stick to make a lever.
Yeah, but then I did also like the difference in terms of, like, I know you didn't like the car thing, but I did like it when those different style of puzzles, different style of gameplay came up. Even when it was just like literally running down some hills and you had to avoid bombs that were coming down. And I thought that's a nice little break up. Or there was a level towards the end where you had to run between trenches and not get gunned down, then run, or the hiding from the lights and stuff like that. I liked all that stuff because it wasn't. Then it became not puzzly. It just became, I don't know, just a different way of playing. And I liked it.
My favourite sequence was that really dark bit when it's all silhouette. That was beautiful.
That was really
exciting and quite
limbo-esque, isn't it?
moving. And it was because you were quite scared at that point for the character. Because you were moving and.
So when you
basically, every now and again, there's a bomb explosion. That lights up the area. Or something.
Flare would go.
Is that when you get out of the camp? Just up
Yeah. So that was a really great section, and there are great sections in the game, and it's it's emotional a bit too falsely sometimes, like you say, with all the extra stuff it's throwing at you in terms of the voiceovers and that.
I must admit, when I got to the end, it was it was a bit kind of, I felt the narration had made it a bit jarring, but it was genuinely like sad.
Well, without spoiling anything, let's just say it's in a World War I game, it's an emotional ending.
Yeah, it's not going to be happy ending on this one. I'm sorry.
But I think part of that is because you know that what happens at the end happened in real life. Well, it happened to thousands of people, and so hundreds of thousands of people, and so that makes it more emotive.
Well, also, I think the thing about that ending. I was trying to avoid spoiling. The thing about the ending is it emphasised the brutality of the war.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I think that was good because I think a lot of the time you'll see, war will be played out like you've got the baddies and the goodies, and I think this just emphasised the fact that there wasn't really goodies. It was much more complex than that, and that was a really good way of doing it. And I think I think certainly at the end I nearly had something in my eye, and I thought it was very well done.
It was a powerful ending. But I say my only problem with it is that it jarred with some of the other more comical elements of the game as well. I didn't feel like I think almost two different games going on at the same time. One very emotional game, which I was probably more involved with, but then on the other side of it, there's this one with repetitive, stupid puzzles and boss fights and. Like just things that just didn't ring true for me. So ultimately, if when we come to rate this game, I don't think I can give it. I'll have to give it a quit, really, because I didn't. I would never go back to replay it. I was bored playing it.
But
I know that makes me a Philistine, but
at the same time, I agree that it's a good game for kids to play, but I don't think it's just for kids.
No.
It's not like it's some.
Well, that's it. No, it's not like it's some. So for me, I was just like
Fisher Price game, and it's
no.
I mean, I'm just gonna cough my guts up. But I did learn things as much as as funny as that might be to you people.
I agree.
I learned things too, and I really enjoyed it, and I found it educational. I'm just not necessarily sure I enjoyed it as a game. I felt like I'd rather be playing Far Cry 4 or something.
It definitely did things that you hardly ever see in games. Like at the ending, it was genuinely emotional, and I thought, when was the last time I felt like that in a game?
Yeah, it's few and far between.
Yeah. I think there's ways in there. I think they could have just tweaked it. I think they could have toned down the narration. They could have integrated some of those facts a little bit more into the story. And actually, you're right. For actually, and I said it earlier. When playing with getting the kids playing this, it's absolutely brilliant. Because this is such an important time in human history. That it's a shame that there's not more kind of done about it. And I think games have really kind of they've done World War II to death, so to speak. Like it's so like every battle, everything that's been done has been covered by Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or whatever. To a stage now they're going to the future conflicts, which are ridiculously complex in a different way. But this seems like a prime location. Fair play to Ubisoft for having actually the braveness to do it, because I bet it was a pretty tough sell.
Probably because of the fact that obviously a French studio, it's very much about the French and war and that.
Yeah, there isn't any British well, there's like the
There's little
British
bits.
pilot and
We come into it as usual in things where it's Brits represented in things. We kind of come across as quite brash and arrogant.
I'll tell you what it's like. It's
we're
like
not UKIP, by the way.
it's like the Brits in Independence Day. When they're going around the globe, and there's like a bloke with like a moustache saying, "What?
Oh my God! I
Spits
can't
his coffee
believe
on.
it. What is Will Smith doing about it?
Also, on Die Hard 2, the only plane that crashes is the one with full of Brits.
I love that line in Independence Day when they sort of ring through and they're like, "Oh, it's the Americans. They've come up with a solution." And one goes, "Well, about bloody time." It's like, "Oh, hurrah, the Americans."
It then cuts. This is amazing.
This is now an Independence Day podcast.
It then cuts to like the Egyptians, like all celebrating with their.
They're doing this. Like,
They've also got like stats.
Tourist
How
stereotypes.
do you fly an
background.
F-15 or whatever you had to do into the bottom of the thing at that moment when the actual thing opens up and fires, which is quite a unique happenstance.
Although, to be fair,
And yeah, what did they do? Throw like one of their staffs in, which is what that moment of the film depicts them as only having that. Anyway, I digress.
to be fair though, we did exactly the same thing in Wolfenstein to the big metal machine.
We did.
We Independence Day
Hey, I
that
like
shit.
linking them all together.
Yeah, we Independence Day that bitch.
Remember, you can check out our older podcasts.
There's- They're still very much available. I was gonna. So you talked about this game's from Ubisoft, and they've had a terrible year because there was Assassin's Creed Unity, which was broken on release. Still haven't fixed it. In fact, yesterday they sent out a 40 gig patch. Did you hear about this? So the patch is only supposed to be about 6 gigs, but they mistakenly released a 40 gig
I
version.
got the 6 gig version and
Yeah.
I thought I can't even be asked to download that right now. I was going to play it as well. I'm just like, nope.
They can't do anything right.
I
And
hope
then-
what that does is actually copy over some existing files rather than just dump another 6 gig of just
It's probably just
stuff onto
just
the
the
hard
just
drive.
the whole game again.
That sounds like a reinstall.
Some
Start afresh.
That game is screwed.
But you've
The crew also.
the crew,
screwed.
yep, exactly. And also Watch Dogs. That was this year, wasn't it?
Well, Watch Dogs
Watch
came out
Dogs-
and that worked. But
Yeah, it was.
But
It's
that-
because they downgraded all the graphics.
Far Cry
so-
4 was a bit broken. That had issues. You couldn't very easily. I mean, I have connected with other people on that and played through bits of it, but there was a slight issue at the start where because it's like a 2-player co-op mode.
I still want to play Far Cry 4. Actually.
Yeah, it's a really great game.
But all these-
I played bits of it, but Ubisoft's year is basically been a year of failure towards Christmas because no doubt they were hitting the Christmas market.
Well, exactly. But even so, like all these games we just mentioned, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry 4, the premise is basically the same, isn't it? Run around, shoot blokes, climb up something.
Open world, like do stuff, run about, load of side tasks. One thing I hate about Ubisoft games is there's so many objectives. You end up with all these little arrows, and you like it's like you kind of
You look at your map and it looks like some sort of weird tattoo or something. It's got that much stuff on
it's
it,
like
yeah.
so many, it's pointing in so many different directions. I'm like, stop telling me what to do.
What I'm always amazed by is that people have the time to get all those things. So I tried on Assassin's Creed 4, like the Black Flag Pirates one. So I was playing that. I must have put, I don't know, many hours into it, and that's quite rare for me because I don't have that much time to play like games that much and just put like 50 hours into the damn things. And even now I've got like stuff to find, and there's still like a few lingering things there which I'll probably never collect. So I just can't be asked to go back to it now.
I think one of the things we always say, this is our 3rd podcast, we always say this. I think a lot of games are just too long, and there's a lot of bloat.
You're saying it does waste your time, and we're poking a finger in its eye. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
But-
it's all filler. Well, some filler.
No, we have our own catchphrase. That's what we use.
Oh, right.
which is-
Poking our eye.
Poking eyes in things.
Poking the eye in someone's face.
But this game,
What is it
Finger
again?
in every pie.
Poking a finger in every
Hey, it took me
pie.
at least a minute to think of that
What you've
catchphrase.
eaten, you've just gone in and
so back on track.
Oh,
This
What
game,
were we talking about?
Ubisoft. So this game
Yeah.
is part of the UB Arts division, which made Valiant Hearts this game, and also
Child of Light.
which I'm playing through at the moment.
I've not played it. It's on my
It's really
to-do
good.
list.
I'm really enjoying it. It's like a side-scrolling RPG. But the thing both these games have got is they're about like 6 to 7 hours long,
yeah, sure.
and
yeah.
they're really compact, and I think that really pays off because they don't drag out the
I
story.
could not have took any more of this game.
Yeah.
I'd have just like I would have just not bothered to finish.
But that's it. I mean, it's like we talked about.
I think it was a good length though. I think it was just about right.
Yeah,
I think
Alien
it
should have
was.
been this length probably.
was
Alien would have probably been amazing as a 6-hour game, but now
Yeah.
we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's move on from that.
I think with UBs, it's like Electronic Arts had the same thing a while ago. I think when you go from a big publisher to a mega publisher, which UB seems to have done, There's always big problems. And Electronic Arts had exactly the same problems, didn't it? You know, server issues, people complained about them. You know, like major things. Some of this stuff is overblown. Some of it is real problems.
They've nailed it now, though. I mean, like Dragon Age Inquisition's pretty much come out smoothly. From what I can gather. FIFA this year is pretty smooth. Advanced Warfare, pretty damn smooth.
Yeah, they're
Has anyone played any of those games with the base? I ain't played one of them.
I play FIFA. Apart from that, well, and actually, I wouldn't say it's that smooth.
Oh, really?
Well, I'd say there's definitely issues online. It's okay, but then I always find with the FIFAs, like I'm not like a massive FIFA fan, but my stepson obviously is. And we had FIFA 14 because I always do that kind of buy the old one first because it's like what's the point in buying the newest one because it's like 50 quid for. And I'm always right because he then
Dave's tip of the day.
I'm always right. No,
hey kids, don't waste your money on these new video games.
Just imagine Dave with his steps in. I'm always right.
Happy Christmas. Here's last year's FIFA.
No, I would never do that.
A real scabby box.
Here's a PlayStation 2.
Here's the CX sticker on it.
Here's £5 to get a FIFA game, which everyone you can afford. No, but I'd always do that kind of like get the cheapest FIFA. It's pretty much the same thing. And then loads of my friends were like, oh, you know what? The newest FIFA, that is a real change. It's great.
No, because they've added bendy ball physics to it.
Yeah, and that's it. And I kind of think, I don't
real
give a shit.
linesman or something.
Yeah, and I just don't give a shit. It still kind of looks the same. The graphics, it's tiny people. I mean, I don't zoom in that much.
The thing is, so every year you go to the EA press conference where they announce FIFA, and every year they go, this FIFA is going to be like the most realistic ever. It doesn't get any better than this. And then you go to the next year's one, and they say the exact
we found
same
out
thing.
We could make the hair a bit more realistic.
You can actually see it on their arms.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted from that football game.
That's what they do all the time, isn't it? It's like the iPhone is always the best iPhone ever. It visually feel like, the newest iPhone, it's not the best one ever. Is
that because you've got an iPhone 5 series?
Yeah.
Really bad.
Fucking
But
bastards.
that's like a modern issue of games, isn't it? They are serialised beyond all belief. So there's like annual iterations every
Refresh.
year. Every year. Annual,
Ubisoft
every
and EA
year.
are both villains for this. They are the Baron von whatevers of the gaming world.
But with a game like Valiant Hearts, I'm pretty sure there won't be Valiant Hearts 2.
No.
The Baron is
maybe,
back.
because they might do World War II, maybe.
Baron
Oh, well, that'd be fine.
Strikes Back.
Or they might do it in the end of the war. Centenary, maybe. That would be
I still don't think they would do it.
2018.
I don't think they
I
would
really
either,
don't think they would do it. But I mean,
I just think like it's fantastic that there is even just a game that's about Great War. I mean, like it was so rare. I mean, like when I did that feature back then, I looked around. There was like there was a couple of flight sims. There was one like odd game. I can't remember what it's called, like Necromancer or something. It was like a kind of mix of like a.
What are we talking about here? What were these games? This
World
has come from
War
nowhere.
games. This is World War games.
World War One games.
Yeah, we're actually talking about World War One. You have been here for the last half an hour.
No, but you started listing games I'd never heard of. I was wondering why.
Well, if you listen to what I was saying, you would watch my mouse would move.
all right.
That's because I couldn't hear your...
Handbags down.
guys.
Handbags down.
You know, just don't.
Come on, carry on with your list.
Don't argue with each other.
List up
guys.
those games. Good thing.
Everyone loves a good list.
It had like a kind of spiritual, weirdly, kind of a demonic type element to it, which was a bit kind of weird. And that was it. There was,
Were none of those Medal of Honor games the early ones? None of those?
No, all the Medal of Honor
So-
games were World War Two.
I miss World War II games.
Wolfenstein, what more do you need?
Yeah, but
I swear there's a Medal of Honor. Oh no, I'm thinking maybe it was.
There was that
some
really
film.
like famous one from 10 years or more ago when they it started out and it was the beach landings and that.
Allied
was that
Assault.
World War One or
That's
two?
Dunkirk.
Yeah.
Not Dunkirk. That's the
Normandy.
Beach landings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Allied Assault is,
like,
yeah.
I think the last World War
Assault.
II game I played, apart from Wolfenstein, which doesn't really count. Come
It
on.
does.
Was
Totally. It's about Hitler's never in it and there's some
Well,
scientist. What are you talking about?
apart from the historically accurate Wolfenstein, the last World War II game I played was Medal of Honor Airborne.
with the parachute.
That was really good.
But that is World War
PS2
II.
era.
Didn't that get
was
like
it?
pulled or
Yes.
banned from certain places? There was some.
Probably Germany.
Probably Australia.
Yeah.
I
Everything
remember
was
there were
banned
some
in
issues when it was released about.
We're not allowed to have Nazi images in Germany, are we?
No.
That's illegal.
They're not big on it.
Okay.
They also
They-
basically they tend to make red blood green in Germany as well on most games.
Do they?
Wow.
Like Left 4 Dead, I don't think was able to have blood.
I remember in like Mortal Kombat, there was I think. I
Oh,
remember
the
seeing
SNES version of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
the very
god.
first Mortal Kombat, seeing it green, I thought, well, this is crap. Isn't
You know
it?
what? Like when I was very small, when I guess that game must have come out when I was like 10 or something, and at the time there was it's like the official Nintendo magazine, and they did an April Fool, and I didn't even know April Fools as a concept really at this age. And the April Fools, if you strapped a penny to the top of the cartridge and then put this ridiculously intricate like things of button presses and that, because they used to do that on Street Fighter 2 Turbo to get like better modes and that. You used to have to put these. So it kind of felt to me that it was. I don't know how I fell sucker for the penny on the top, but like that was just priceless. So I must have spent probably a full month trying to do that all the time. It was to get the blood in the game because the SNES version, famously of Mortal Kombat, had no blood in it.
Yep.
So the idea, the April Fool was you could do this whole code thing to get blood in the game, and I must have spent like hours and hours of like angsty trying to get this code. Obviously, it was a complete April Fool. I didn't even know what April Fools were. They were tricking kids.
Do you remember Carmageddon?
I was going to say
Carmageddon.
I loved that game. That was amazing.
That was actually, I reckon that sparked off GTA actually, did Carmageddon.
GTA might have predated it, the original top-down
the original
one.
top-down. Yeah, it did.
But I remember my mum reading an article in the Daily Mail about Carmageddon and saying, "Oh, you've not heard of this game, have you?" And I thought, I must play this now. This is my calling.
Quite recently, it's been re-released with new graphics. And
so you can get it on Android and iOS.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
There was a new one, wasn't there? There was actually a proper new one.
There was a Kickstarter for it.
Yeah, and there was all the clowns came down and stuff like that.
Sounds like one of your dreams.
yeah.
All the
That was
clouds
Twisted Metal you're thinking of, is it? With the
Oh, it
clowns?
was Twisted Metal, yeah, sorry.
That was not very good.
Let's do Carmageddon next week.
Hitler was, Hitler's
The original one, let's all go around.
The thing is, was the cheat for Carmageddon, was that to make the blood red?
The blood was green.
The blood was green, you could
But-
cheat to make
They
the
were
blood
supposed to be zombies.
But
I
had the limited edition, which came with the Splat Pack, which had a patch for blood.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's amazing. And a mouse mat.
Was it 60
It
gigabytes?
came with a mouse mat. 60, yeah, it was 60 gigs.
It was like a download.
What my 28k modem.
Oh, 28. I remember playing Counter-Strike on like a 28k. How times change.
One
We
more
were talking
thing.
about Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, one more thing I was going to say about the game,
Digressed.
which we didn't touch on at all. The music is brilliant.
Well, we did talk about the can music. You didn't like the can
No, not the
music.
the original
I really
music.
like it because the bombs come to the beats of the songs. It's really clever.
The original
Bum 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 bum. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, that was all right, that bit, but the rest of the driving sequence with the kangaroos was like, no,
Yeah, it was annoying.
This is stupid.
But nicely,
I like the little piano.
the nice thing about it is they were quite forgiving save times. So,
Yeah.
like, if you died and it generally started you kind of.
Oh, I thought that was brilliant.
Which
But
is
this,
nice.
this to me, this emphasises even more this for kids because
And
they'll
actually,
lose
Yeah,
concentration.
I mean, you could
and
not
be
fail
interested.
to beat that game, really, could you?
Yeah,
If you put
yeah.
5 to 10 hours in, you're going to beat that game.
Oh,
Yeah, there's no. The stealth system is actually better than Alien Isolation. You spend no time in a fucking cupboard.
No, it's not.
It
There's
fucking
no
is.
real stealth in it. There's engineered stealth in it. It's not the same
Yeah,
thing.
so it's better than Alien Isolation.
Have we seriously already stopped talking about the music?
Oh, go on.
I've got 8 pages.
Are you going to play the music for us?
I could do.
I did set a
What have
precedent
you got on your phone?
last week by playing some music.
I'll dig it out in a sec. But I just want the original score for this is fantastic, especially the title track.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the very emotive, like war songs.
I'll
of the day,
find a
isn't
bit.
it?
I'll play it on my phone.
Well, Dave can place
yeah,
it in.
Yeah,
as well.
it's supposed to. I've put here my notes. Music is effective, very haunting.
It is.
And then I said, for some reason, I don't know why, it sounds like something from an Audrey Tattoo movie. What? I don't know where that came from. It just came to me.
Is that iPhone?
I don't think I've seen one of those movies.
Audrey
They are available on the internet.
Yes.
One thing I would like.
And all good stock is where you actually buy them rather than download them illegally.
Two things that are odd about this style. Why have they got really small, thin legs?
It's a cartoon.
It's
I can't
olden
criticise
days.
it for the art style.
They
It's
did
actually a very good looking
Yeah, I
game.
think it looks great.
Number two, why when he's talking, he's from France, by the way, does he have a Cockney voice?
Because it's hello, hello.
Oh yeah, no, I found that.
God. Hello, darling. I'm writing back from France.
Yes, because I thought the same thing because I was thinking he's
Sounds like
French, isn't
Alan
he?
Sugar.
He's French, isn't he? Because every time he spoke to the dog, he was like, "Merci, chien," all that kind of stuff. And even when walking around, he's doing very stereotypical French noises.
darling.
And then it came to that stuff, and I thought, is this a different character?
Yeah.
And that suddenly sort of took me away
Who's
a
the
little
voice
bit.
actor? Greg Wallace.
Oh, Greg Wallace has got his second mention.
Fighting doesn't get tougher than this.
That would explain all the pudding references. I bloody love puddings.
I quite enjoy driving the big tank.
I didn't enjoy that.
You didn't enjoy
No,
that?
because it's really somber, and then suddenly you're in a big
Just-
fucking tank
yeah,
shooting Nazis, well not Nazis, but Germans out of the sky, And it made me think of Contra 3. I thought, I'm pretty sure I did this.
Oh, no, that was a game.
That is a game.
Bring back Contra 3 in
How did that make you
Konami.
think of Contra 3?
Because it's a great game. I think of it every day.
They did bring a version
You can't
back
just think of
for
good
the
things,
Xbox 360,
like,
I think,
yes,
didn't they?
Did they?
There was a Contra, I think, on the...
But not Contra 3.
I hated the
best
quick
one.
time.
Contra.
I hated the quick
Are you
time.
still talking?
Yeah, I am still talking.
We're talking about Contra over
Yeah,
here.
we've moved on. The quick time.
It's not about Contra, it's about Valiant
Everything
Hearts.
is about Contra. The quick time event is
Quick Time
basically
was
Guitar
shy.
Hero.
Yeah,
no, I
Because
can
I'm
see
really
that.
good at Guitar Hero, I just didn't even have a problem with that. I just passed
Did you
it
get the
one first
trophy?
time.
I
I don't
hate
know,
quick time
probably.
in general,
Actually,
to be
we should probably
honest.
explain what this is because so one of the characters is a nurse,
Yeah.
and obviously it's war, so you're getting injured a lot, and the nurse bandages you up and.
No.
Although, like, because of the... Sorry to interrupt you, but, like, the item collecting we were talking about before, whilst one of the characters is dying of some horrific condition that she's going searching for, like, a first aid kit,
Yeah.
I did go through all the other rooms
Yeah,
to
yeah,
find if
me
there were
too.
any items.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
As you
some-
would in that situation. Oh, look, there's a golf ball signed by Baron von whatever. I'll go and I'll collect that then.
Wikipedia facts.
Yeah, interesting fact. In the war, golf was played by the Germans. I'm making that all.
It's going through like a piggy bank.
Well, it was.
Maybe someone's left some Sun teams around.
It
there.
was absolutely ridiculous that at that point they still had you going. Oh, I need to go left here, to,
Yeah, I'm gonna
even though
search-
that's
I'm
not
gonna
where the
search
thing
the
is.
whole
But I'm going to
place.
search all those cupboards.
Well, as you know, I always go left first.
Well, you do always go left first.
I'd love to get a t-shirt.
What were you saying before, before I interrupted you?
I
Sorry.
can't remember. It was a really good
Hooray!
That is quite
In that
odd.
case, I win.
In games where you come into a room and there's like an emotional scene and you just go around ransacking all the cupboards.
I
Like,
must
I'm gonna
find
go-
all the letters for my platinum trophy.
I'm like
Imagine
robbing
that.
this guy.
That'd be great. Oh
Just
my
ransacking.
goodness.
I'm going to take all this shit. And he must be stood there thinking, what is this guy doing? He's just like going through all my cupboards.
Even like
taking my
the most
bandages,
beautiful character of
ammo.
all, Link, he'll happily just go into his neighbour's house and just start rifling through all
Bang,
the their
have it.
jars.
I got your chickens. I'm like,
The
yeah,
best,
fuck you,
actually,
see you later.
the best thing about the... Do you remember anyone played Link's Awakening on the original Game Boy?
Yes.
And if you went and stole something from the... Because there was a shopkeeper
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
could pick stuff up and run around him so many times that you got dizzy, basically, and you could escape. And at that point, your name changed to Thief. And you were never allowed back in the... I don't think you were allowed back in the shop. And basically, they overrode what you'd called Link, so you could call him, like, Mike or whatever you want to call him.
I didn't call him
You can
Mike.
do that. You can do that. But you knew that on every single. You knew that. That's not a new thing. You knew that on every single Zelda game. It's not called Link if you don't want him to be called Link. But then
Yeah.
they actually overwrote
Tim.
that and changed you to Thief.
Trevor.
So you had to play the rest of the game called Thief.
That was good. That taught me a
Well done,
lesson.
Nintendo.
And I never stole again.
Nor did I. Apart from all those Audrey Tattoo movies.
I like games that give you the option to do like silly stuff. I remember, what was it? One of the Hitman games.
Games that you do silly stuff. They do not.
Naughty
They let
things.
you like
Grand
not
Theft
do what
Auto
they
is the
want.
most sensible game I've ever played.
But one of the Hitman games, I can't remember which one it was. It was like when you, I think it's Blood Money or something.
Well, the best Hitman game.
And you can go out in the back and you're in this kind of shooting range, and you can go out the back and you go, okay, I got to fight this woman to get my silver ballers, which are the silenced pistols back. So I played it a couple of times and it fucking failed miserably. I went, oh, do you know what? I'm really pissed off. I'm just going to shoot her in the head and see what happens. Shot her in the head and it all kicked off. All these guys came in, so hunkered down, made a kind of pile of corpses. And then I went, whoa, okay, everybody's dead. The whole place is deserted. I wandered around for a while going, hello, is anybody here? And then just went and picked up the silver ball and walked out. I like the fact that
Some
the game...
games are cool for letting you just.
But the
approach
fact the
things.
game just said, you're obviously crap at like aiming, but you're clearly quite persevering at killing people. Fine, go for it. That's what you want to do.
Did you
know?
ever play Black and White?
Yeah, I
On
love
PC.
Black and White.
I love Black
I
and
was so
White.
excited for Black and White coming out because it was so hyped up by PC, whatever magazine it was at the time, and like Peter Molyneux's so good at giving like a press conference and building up hype. for
He does
stuff.
that every time.
He does.
Even when you talk to him, he's like, it's so exciting, even though he's failed every time to deliver on Fable and things like that. But even though, like, you know, I've had the privilege to meet him a couple of times, and he's a really interesting chap, and yet every time you talk to him, you come out thinking, I'm so excited for the next thing that guy makes. But inevitably, it's kind of a bit broken and not quite what was promised.
I love the way he
every
slags
time.
off his old project, doesn't he? Go, that was terrible, wasn't it?
What were you saying about Black and White? 'Cause that
But
was
believe me, this is going to be brilliant. Oh no!
Black and White was basically the ultimate Tamagotchi. It was amazing at the time.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Have you seen the fake Peter Molyneux Twitter
Oh,
feed?
Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
all stuff like, What if you play an FPS but you're the bullet? Ah.
There's a thing in
It's called
Brighton.
Max Payne, isn't it?
There's a thing in Brighton called Molly Jam, where they take all those ideas from Peter Molyneux Twitter and they make them into little games.
Really?
It's like a games jam, so they make them.
We should be live on the
We should,
scene
actually.
next time.
So if you're out there, you're listening. Actually, I do know somebody who works on it, but
Right.
it's project planning. But let's do a live.
Are you basically hyping up your mate's project at the moment, live on the podcast, and no one will ever watch?
No, I'm bringing great ideas to the party. That's what I do.
I know someone who makes chutney, so we should talk about it.
I think we need to wrap up Valiant Hearts.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we're forgetting about
We
it.
are talking about chutney.
I think like maybe
like
the
chutney.
Very popular during the first
half the
one.
What
problem
kind of
with
flavour
this.
is it?
All the flavours.
With
All
this,
the flavours,
yeah. We're 42 minutes
Is
in.
it
We're all right.
mango?
Right, okay.
Half the issue with Valiant Hearts
Yeah.
for a podcast like this, as much as anything, is that it's actually quite short. And independent games on the whole, like it feels like an indie game, even though it's not, 'cause it's made by Ubisoft. But it feels like there was maybe not quite enough. I mean, like I say, for me, it's a quit. I'm sorry to say. I know you guys. I enjoyed it to an extent, and I enjoyed some of what it was aiming at. I enjoyed the history lesson side of it a bit. But I felt there was too many fails in it. The puzzles were boring. It jarred too much from like one experience to the other, between it being emotional or just like ridiculous. And I'd never felt it could make its mind up. All I would love to have seen is a game where it was okay. You're going to take like say it was a Walking Dead game. It would be really, really, really emotional and really harrowing, and that would probably be the ideal form of the game for me. It had too much slapstick in it. I couldn't take it seriously. And I wouldn't have finished it if it wasn't for doing it for this podcast. I would not have bothered to play. Even though I bought it without knowing about the podcast. Actually, I bought it before we even decided to do it, and only for a £5 because it was when the PS3 sale thing happened during Black Friday. So I bought it thinking, I'm going to enjoy this game, and I just didn't. Like I enjoyed aspects of it, but I didn't enjoy it as a game.
I can't believe I used to think you were cool.
Yeah. I'm just sad that
You're
all those
gonna-
people made such a sacrifice for your freedom, Mike,
Well-
and you just shit in their face.
Let's not go there.
I'll go next. I'm going to go continue. Quintinue.
Wait, what are you going for?
Everything at
Continue.
once.
But with a caveat, I think
There are no caveats in this
Yeah.
game.
it's a really brave game. I think it's a really interesting game. I think if you bought it to play with your family, I think you'd be
What a great night in that would be. Come on, guys. We're going to learn about World War
that's
One.
life,
Hey!
He was playing Valiant Hearts. You go
sorry to
watching.
steal back your thunder,
Oh,
but
wait.
my wife is like the biggest history buff. She did history at university. She reads poetry from World War One. She's massively into reading about the war, and she knows everything about history and everything like that. Especially of this era. And I tried to convince her to play it with me, and she did for 10 minutes. 10 minutes she suffered through, and she's like, "This is like."
I'm going to take this snippet.
I
as
said
a-
playing it with me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't really want to know
Sorry.
about your marriage, to be very honest.
Being very immature. It's quite warm here, isn't it? It's okay.
Carry on. Did she dress up?
Oh my God. This is the level of people I dragged into this podcast.
Go on, Mike.
Sorry, go on.
Come on, carry on. Carry on.
I'll be good.
And then anyway, basically the bottom line is she got very, very bored of it very, very quickly because it's very depressing and a bit and not that. It's just not that engaging even to her.
The game.
I thought she'd be really.
Are you finished saying? Because I'll
No,
come in
I'm
on
not
that
finished. I think yes, there is a certain sense of that, but I think there is some real good value here. I think for like 10 or 12 quid, I think it's.
It's always a value prospect. Every time.
Because when you buy a 40 quid game for 25,
I think it's 40 quid. I'd say
a value
quit.
thing.
Quit.
but
I'd
for
say
a-
quit straight
No,
away.
but when you're saying it's a tenner or something, that is its price. It's not reduced. That is its price.
Well, yeah, I know, but like
Yeah, reduced it was a £5.
You know,
Yeah, I got it for a £5.
Yorkshireman Andy Loughlin says, "Hey, if you see this game, well, listen, Bob."
yeah, if you get
it
it
reads
fiver, I'd be definitely about it.
Yorkshire/Geordie.
Yeah, well, what is that?
It's all the
Accent?
same, mate.
Retop.
It's all north of Watford.
Sounds like
I
you've had a stroke. You know, like I think there's a lot of value here. I think there's some good stuff and fair play for them making it. I think it's kind of flawed, really. I think
See, you're calling it a continue, but you think it's flawed. What is this? What are we if not critical?
well, I can't. I don't know. can't give it a quit because I think there's a lot of good stuff.
But there is a lot of good stuff in it, but ultimately it doesn't deliver what it's supposed to deliver.
What's this?
Dave,
Right.
deliver us from madness.
Here we go.
If he's voice of reason, we're absolutely fucked.
Well,
We call
when
him
I got
VOR.
that, what's it called? A trophy?
Hello, Vol.
Yeah, no, well, it is a continue. I actually think, when you said about your wife not being interested, she's a massive history buff, I think that's the issue. Well, that's not the issue, but that is an issue anyway. Like, if you're a massive history buff,
She knows too much.
I don't think. I think
It
this-
wasn't the history that turned her off it was like the fact it was just too somber. And I know, like, okay, it's
But
World
then
War One
the
game's
thing
going
is,
to be
I
somber, but it was just too
liked.
depressing.
I genuinely
for her.
liked that, and actually, I genuinely got sad at the end, even though it had this caricature, cartoony thing throughout the
Yeah,
middle
so
of it.
did
And
I.
actually, I thought, well, the fact that it's managed to do that says something. I think if at the end they then tried doing this sort of sad thing, and I thought, don't try and do that now. It's not a Sainsbury's advert, and I think then I'd get a little bit. Have you not seen the Sainsbury's? Oh, don't get me
John
started.
Lewis, you mean, with the Penguins?
No, the Sainsbury's advert.
Yeah, first world.
It's even, yeah, second worst.
second
Oh
world.
no, it's first world war, isn't it?
No, it is
Oh,
first
no,
world.
I have
Yeah,
to
yeah, it's
say.
awful. It's awful. But anyway,
There are other supermarkets available.
other supermarkets are available, but they're not producing terrible
And
Christmas
none of us
adverts.
pay us to sponsor them, so
Um,
we're not going to name them.
So yeah, so it's the fact they could get to that at the end and still have that kind of comedy element throughout the middle and all that kind of stuff. I really liked it, and I think I did get interested by the kind of slight history lesson to it, and I still tried to come from a perspective that wasn't just my own. I was still trying to think, well, I don't think this is really aimed at me. Like you say, the
But it is
puzzles are simple.
it's your opinion of the game. This is the whole premise of the
I
show.
know. Well, okay, and my opinion's still the same. I still think it was. I still think it was good, and I think they dealt with that stuff very well. So it's got to be a continue.
Yeah, I'm saying continue as well. I'm sticking with it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's put it up there.
Well,
Boom.
okay, so my
It's got to
turn.
explode. It's got to.
Pop.
Yeah. Well, that's a great tribute to the
Oh,
game.
dear God.
So,
That's for the fallen. That's for the fallen.
so have I got the deciding vote then?
I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, the power!
And also, as an alien, for 2 quits, I made it a quit on the
I
side.
know. I agree. If it's 50%, that is. Yeah, it's got to be a
Yeah,
quick.
true.
Well,
You can save the game, or you can kill it.
well, you won't need that second quit because I think it's a continue.
Oh.
I just thought it did something fresh and different. The subject matter was unique, and yeah, I mean, okay, there are aspects of it which are, for me, were just too gamey.
Yeah.
Like pissing about in a tank, killing Baron von what's his face, and like the sort of pipe mania bits where you're putting the pipe together. It just really took me out of the experience. But overall, I thought it was a really good game. I'd like to see. I would have liked it if it'd been more adventure gamey. So one of the issues is you can only carry one object at a time, so there's not much depth to it in that regard.
So you would have liked it more Monkey Island or more Walking Dead.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
work.
absolutely. Yeah, I think
Monkey
so.
Island, I think, would have been
I
better.
love
Yeah.
Monkey
Oh,
Island.
Machinarium would be perfect.
Well, yeah, Machinarium is kind of like the redoing of Monkey Island, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah,
Modern
yeah.
games, yeah.
That format's perfect for this.
But having said that, that would have turned off the younger players.
I think so. Yeah.
So
Are the younger players queuing up to play this game, though? I'm not
Probably
seeing
not.
it. I'm not seeing that.
Well, yeah, but you know, it's now made me offer it to a 10-year-old.
yeah.
Okay, if what I said, you all laughed
and the
at.
game. No.
That is a
But what-
10-year-old that you are connected with.
My stepson, yeah,
Yeah.
I have now
It's not
got
just
him
some
back.
random. It's not-
Yeah, it's not some random. You 10-year-old.
yeah.
I want to see if this game works
Not
on
in
you.
in the playground.
But I think there's definitely something to that. Like,
cigarettes.
I don't even know, do educational games still exist? Because when I was,
Yeah.
what's
Well, Channel 4 used to have I assume still does have a big like educational games form, like a division, and you know they make. I don't know if they do it anymore.
The
But
schools use them, though, is the point. Like,
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Do you remember Granny's Garden? You remember that?
That sounds
What?
like a euphemism.
Just me?
What grows in Granny's garden?
I've been seeing a therapist for that.
Nothing you want to see. That was an educational
Things that
game
burn.
in the 80s on the BBC, and I know for a fact that 2 of you are the same age as me.
I
So
still
it's
think
not
you can't give it a continue. You cannot give it a continue just because in schools it might come in useful sometimes.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm not giving it a continue because I enjoyed the game.
Fair
It
enough.
was the story was something original compared to shooting like Space Marines in the face, and you know it was just a different experience. And I think also that graphically and music as well was really good. I keep coming back to music.
That was good, yeah. I mean, I say
Yeah.
there were
Yeah.
elements
Yeah.
of it I really liked, and I do feel like I wanted to love the game, and I didn't. It felt like it let me down every time I wanted. You know, there was a point of it where I'm like, "This is gonna be good," and then something happened that it either tore me out of the experience, or it something just happened in it.
That's fair play. I mean, I can completely see that.
I just felt they could have done so much more with it to make it so much better, and they didn't, and that's for me why it's a quit. But it's 3-1, so I guess it just about managed it.
So everyone rush out and buy Valiant Hearts.
And then write to me at Mike Plant GC when you agree with me, because actually it's a bit disappointing.
No.
Do your Twitters and we'll
at TLD Dave.
Want media scribbles?
Q or C, Jack.
That was easier than usual.
The next.
How many B's and scribbles?
2 B's.
17.
2 B's. Okay.
You're spelling it wrong.
Just checking.
Shut the fuck up. And the next time.
We're
going to be talking about.
The Last of Us.
What could it be?
The Last of Us.
It's about time.
Widely regarded as one of the best video games ever made. Is it really?
I mean,
it's been remastered. There is a new version on PS4.
Which are we all going to be playing that, or are you going to be playing the PS3 version?
PS4 version.
Because it's obviously a lot cheaper on the PS3.
PS4.
I just traded in Destiny to get the Last of Us.
You traded in Destiny? Yeah, to be fair, Destiny's a bit of a disaster.
I was thinking, I can still get 18 quid for Destiny, even though it's worthless to me. So I think I'll get 18 quid for Destiny.
You know what? I've still got Alien and Wolfenstein on my book.
They're decreasing in value every day.
Every day it goes cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Mine are sold the day after this podcast. Except for this one, because it's digital, so I can't.
Probably got a lot more than I do for it. So yeah, we'll be doing The Last of Us. I can kind of almost guarantee now it's going to get continues from us all, but we're going to try and find...
Well, hang on a sec.
Say that!
So I don't want to tune in next time.
No, but what I'm going to say is we are going to try and find the areas where Naughty Dog... I mean, come on, it's like the greatest game of last year. We're not going to go with but we are going to try and identify the areas that
there
need
are
improving.
some key things about Naughty Dog games which I think don't work.
Also, we're all quite cynical.
We are.
And the question we're going to try and answer when we look at this game is it better or worse than Granny's Garden?
Yeah.
So
that is a euphemism.
You can join us.
What would I rather be playing?
So, Google that shit. Come back to us. Go and try it. Responsibly, please, and then we'll see.
So you can join us. They can join us in our not in Granny's Garden, in The Last of Us. By what can they do, Dave? They can
subscribe to our YouTube channel. We need some subscribers.
Where is that YouTube channel?
Click the links below.
On YouTube. Type in Quit or Continue. We should be there.
Yeah. You'll find us.
You'll find us.
Cialis and penis enlargement.
What happens with you when you have a beer? You just start talking.
Penis enlargement.
And you can also come to the website at www.quitorcontinue.com, and this is a relatively new thing. I set up an email account for us. It's called mailers@quitorcontinue.com. And there's a Twitter, which is quitorcontinue, at quitorcontinue. So all of these things exist. Use them and tell us what you think of The Last of Us. But tell us what you think about The Last of Us from a critical point of view, and we will use the best.
Yeah, it would actually be good to get some negative.
I haven't seen much. I think so. I think we'll be marking it extra harsh, I reckon, because it comes from such a lofty place that you've got to be harsh with that game.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it, but I have concerns about it.
But you're going to play it again, aren't you?
Obviously, it's been out for a long time. We will have played it, but we are going to play it again.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it. And also, I want to do the DLC that's now not a DLC. But
I've actually played the DLC.
All right, so that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We will be back in, I don't know,
2015.
Yeah,
2015 next year.
The future.
A new year of games.
And we're doing The Last of Us.
We're doing a game that was out in fucking 2013.
Yeah, but we can't do a 2015 game, can we, really? Like in the first couple of weeks of January.
I've got a time machine.
What?
Yeah.